Well, Pete, welcome to Dialing It In, our second little webcast here with Muscle Potential. It's been going good so far. Just sit back and talk to you, and you've been a customer for a long time. I want to start talking to some of our customers and get an idea of training, how things have been going with COVID, and shows they've done, and life in general.
Sure, sure.
How has COVID affected you with this interesting time of life we are in?
Well, I mean, there was quite a period there with just uncertainty, uncertainty of when the gyms were going to open back up, uncertainty of, if the shows were even going to go on or if they were going to get canceled. So, I mean, it was just a pretty rough year from that aspect of just not really knowing, exactly what was going on and, if everything you were doing was worth it, if you were even going to get a chance to step on stage.
I think that was the biggest
so
thing.
pretty much for training, my gym closed down, I believe in March.
Okay.
It was closed for about 6 to 8 weeks. Okay. In that time period, I got lucky. I had a buddy, my good friend James Hatley. He owns Anytime Fitness over in Redmond. He had a bunch of dumbbells that went, from 5 to 100, a good set. He called me up after my gym shut down. He's like, "Hey, I got some dumbbells sitting in storage, so if you want, you can come over here and pick them up." So I jumped on that. I got all over it. I took the trip, 5-hour trip over to Redmond there, and loaded up the weights one day and brought them back. And that's how I trained while the gyms were closed, was just with straight dumbbells.
At least you had some type of outlet. From talking to people, I found a lot didn't have any outlet. Especially going from like workouts to like band workouts, it really isn't. It's something people try to say, but it really isn't anything. Especially if you're into really like weight training, like that didn't really satisfy the need for most people.
Yeah, you just don't get the stimulation from the bands. I mean, with the dumbbells, I mean, at least I was able to. I wouldn't say I was able to grow, but I was definitely able to maintain, and that even lasted through my a bit of my prep.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, it was different, a little bit more difficult than previous years, just to make everything happen. But it's definitely an experience.
This is one we tell future generations about. I guess like there was a time when the gyms were shut down for such and such period of time.
Yeah.
Now for the did you have the North Americans already on your planned agenda originally when you started the year?
Yeah.
Were you already in prep when you started when everything was like in January, February? Were you already prepping, or were you just?
No, I didn't start prep. I don't think I started prep till April.
Okay.
I think it was April 1st or so.
No, was that when you originally had planned it, or was that just?
What's that?
I said, was that when you originally had planned to start your prep, or was this like a modification due to the COVID?
No, I stayed pretty lean through my off season, so I mean, I knew that would be me and my coach Brandon Lyons. We knew it would be the sufficient time to get us dialed in. So.
Okay. How long have you been working with Brandon?
I worked with Brandon for 4 years. He was pretty much my first coach. We started with the Emerald Cup, 2017. I was just a heavyweight at that show. Ended up placing third. And that's kind of when I got bit by the bodybuilding bug. And, I just wanted to keep progressing and getting better. So
nice.
I've been with Brandon until just this recently. After North Americans, Brandon came to me and pretty much, he thought that I'd advanced past where he could take me with his knowledge. Very upstanding guy to be able to come to your client like that, pretty much tell them that they care more about your success than the paycheck you're giving them. So really respected him for that. He's a great guy, really good friend of mine. And then after that, he recommended that I get with Blue Taylor. So that's what I just did. I just linked up with Blue Taylor here about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And right now we're just kind of reverse dieting out of this show prep.
I've seen some of Blue's clients. They've done a really good job with prepping them and getting them ready for shows.
Yeah. No, he's got a pretty impressive roster. He got clients all over the world.
Yeah, he does.
And it's kind of a bonus, I mean, he's right here in my state.
Oh, nice.
So, I'm able to, he's about a 4-hour drive away. So I'm able to go up there and meet with him when I need to, work on posing, go through some workouts. So that's nice, kind of a bonus to have a coach so close like that. So
I don't know, have you met up with Blue yet, or are you still just in the planning and getting stages ready?
Yeah, just right now, we're kind of just, like I say, just reverse dieting and just kind of seeing where the reverse diet goes and where we end up. We'll start off season after we reverse diet out. We're kind of going to go through a detox phase, where we'll take about 6-7 weeks and totally detox before we start my off season. So
no problem. Now, what did you think of the North Americas, how they ran it, and the setup for it? I'm getting mixed results, and from people saying, some people didn't like it, some people liked the format, some people thought it was just chaotic. I heard there was like 1,800 competitors at the show overall, which just sounds like a horribly, horribly long day.
Yeah. No, I mean it was one of those deals where you had to hold your condition for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a lot of people time it to where you know about what time on a normally scheduled show when you're going to get on stage for the morning show. And I mean, I didn't even get on stage, I don't think, till close to 5 o'clock.
Okay.
And it was kind of a guessing game. No one really knew when I would step on. At first, when they were first kind of clipping through them, I figured I'd probably, be on stage around 1 or so. And then as I kept watching the classes, I was like, wow, I'm probably not going to step on stage till at least 5,
wow.
And it's around what time I ended up stepping on. So
now, did they do bodybuilding at the end, or was it the bikini and other stuff at the end of the show? Or
no, we were the very last class of the day of the whole entire show. So they wrapped up with the super heavies there, and I mean, it was a good show. I mean, they basically, Gary did what he had to do to make it happen, make it go on, and got people their pro cards, the people that have been working hard all year, and kind of rewarded them for their hard work. So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. At least we got to get on stage and present what we had done for the year,
I completely understand that, and I agree. I think that was one of the things, like I said, I give it to the promoters who put the effort out there to do. Now, they didn't allow an audience, though. There was no audience out there, or was there?
No, there was no audience, which was kind of discouraging, because, I mean, a lot of people had family there, good friends there that had flown in, spent the money to come. I mean, and he basically came out and said that there was not going to be any audience allowed like a week before the show. It would have been nice to give a heads up, a couple months out for some people that, hey, this could be something that could happen. It might not have audience available to watch. But there was no word of that until, like I say, about a week out from the show. So that was the only thing that I thought that was kind of a little bit, messed up, just from the family support and the friends and whatnot, the people that spent money to come out to watch, their loved ones compete on stage. So.
Yeah, you didn't. I mean, even if you didn't, they didn't sell tickets at all. I'm guessing, so there was no, like. I think that was my biggest thing. Was in the future, is this a thing that we're going to see? And if audiences can't be part of a show, especially a big show like the North Americas, is that going to discourage a promoter from putting on the show because there's not going to be any real revenue coming in?
Yeah.
That's where they make the money. The tickets aren't cheap. We all know this type of thing. And if there's no audience going to be a thing for this moving forward. Are they going to sell online tickets and start doing more webcasting of shows? Because they did have the webcasts. They did live on Facebook of you guys. And that's kind of how I watched it. But in the long run, that doesn't make them any money. And I think that's one of those things. I still haven't been to a show during this period of time. But that has been my thought. Is like, what will promoters do next year if they still can't? Have people come in and pay money to be part of this because trophies aren't cheap, the venues aren't cheap, and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think it's something that I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see. A lot of this is, I feel at least that a lot of this stuff is politically driven. So maybe after the election, things will change a little bit. Who knows?
We don't know.
You
Like
know.
I said, 2021 could be just as bad as 2020. We have zero clue what's about to happen
Yep.
right now. So,
Yep.
I think North Americans this was like the biggest bodybuilding show that I think that has ever been done at this point for like any national show, because I don't think they've ever had 1,800 competitors before. And
Yeah, no, it was definitely a stacked show. I mean, yeah, some of the lower classes, they just had a ton of people. But I mean, it was the only show people could really do, you know. I mean, it was the
Mhm.
first national level show of the year. And yeah, I mean, most people just wanted to get on stage and get through the year and move on and progress and get better for next year, you know.
Mhm.
So,
So what did you think of the super heavyweight lineup? I did get to watch it. Nick looked great. We got a couple that top five was a pretty
yeah,
stacked top five.
yeah, no, they're all great guys. You know, they all look great. Everyone in the class looked pretty good. You know, condition was on point for most everyone in the class. Yeah, no, I mean it was definitely a good super heavy lineup. I kind of expected there to be more super heavies just from shows in the past. It seemed like there was
I think wasn't the super.
normally anywhere from 10 to 15. Was normally the size of the super heavy class. So
Mhm.
I think it was a little bit of light for competitors in the super heavyweight class alone. But nonetheless, yeah, no, everyone looked good. They all brought good packages, and yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was a good lineup.
I think was the super heavy like one of the smallest classes actually at the whole show.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, there was nine people in the class.
That's kind of what
So
I was shocked at when I saw it. I was like, this is like the lowest amount of super heavyweights I've seen at a national level show
yeah,
like this for in a long time. Have I seen not that many? You know.
yeah. I think a lot of them are getting ready to ramp up though and do nationals. It seems like.
Mhm.
It seems like that lineup is starting to get pretty deep for nationals. I'm of course not doing nationals this year. Not really too sure of my plans as of right now. We're just going to kind of go with the flow and kind of see how my off season goes
Okay.
before we make any sort of decision on when we're going to compete next.
Sometimes that's a good thing to do. I think some people, especially in bodybuilding, I've seen them do show after show, like 3 or 4 shows a year, every year. And I'm like, but you don't look any different than the last time you
Right.
competed. It's like, so what are you, like, are you just hoping that one day that nobody's going to be in the class or they just got to finally go, you look great this time? It's like, if you're not winning, especially too, like, I feel like it's those
Yeah.
times that you need to take that step back and reevaluate
Exactly.
and then re-put, some work in there. And taking that time off, maybe a year or two, even longer sometimes is needed
Yeah.
to make those
Yeah.
progress.
You should look at it as a chance to progress. I mean, if you don't place that well, there's obviously things that need to be addressed. Obviously, it wasn't just shit judging. I
Hmm.
mean, like some people try to say, I mean, the judging is, they got a good panel of judges there. There's quite a few judges. I mean, it's not based off of one person's opinion. It's based off of all of those judges' opinions. And obviously, there was something lacking from you, and you need to work on fixing
Hmm.
that.
Now, did you get any judges' feedback yet from the show, or I'm not sure how long it takes with them to like put those out there or give that information?
No, I haven't got any sort of feedback yet. I mean, I know what was really wrong. I mean, I flattened out pretty hard on the show. No excuses from this side. I mean, I was simply, outclassed by those guys. Just wasn't quite ready for that level yet.
Now, this
But
is your first time in super heavyweight.
what's that?
This was your first time in super heavyweight.
No, this was my first time at a national level show.
Okay, gotcha.
I've only done I did that was my fifth show. So I've only done 4 shows prior to that
Okay.
one. I already mentioned the Emerald Cup 2017. 2018, I did the San Jose show down in California. That was right before USA, so that was a stacked class. I went from I was in super heavies for that show. I believe I weighed in at like 238, but that was a nice stacked class because, like I said, it was right before USA, so people were trying to qualify for USA's.
Hmm.
So I ended up fourth in that show. And then after that, I held condition for 6 weeks. Went up and competed in the Portland Classic. Ended up winning my class in the super heavies, and then barely lost the overall by like 2 points to the heavyweight. And then the next year, 2019, last year I guess, is when I did the Washington State show. I ended up winning my class, the super heavies, and then I won the overall show as well.
Okay.
So
now, when did we start working with you? In 2017, I think. I feel like
2017, yeah, my second show.
Okay. Now, how did you hear? Do you remember how you heard about us?
Derek Lunsford, actually. I remember seeing a post of Derek Lunsford because that was the year he won USA's Turn Pro, and I was like, wow, those are some darn good looking trunks. You know, I mean, they fit his body perfectly. Mm-hmm. You know, they were dialed, and I was like, I'm gonna get a hold of these guys and see what they can do for me. So.
And I think we did, you know, and again, I think that's one of the things is, you know, over time, especially with our trunks, you know, muscle potential, because I think you talked about this, you know, in IG, over time they actually get better fitting to you the more you purchase, because it's like, you know, your shape, we start to get to understand your body shape and, you know, what needs to be tweaked to get them to fit right.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we went through some consultation, you and me, before this show. We made a few minor changes to my trunks, and yeah, man, I thought they looked really good this year.
They really did.
They got better. Like you say, every year they've gotten a little bit better. And, you know, I expect them to look even better next year.
And, you know, and I think they will. You know, and I know you had some difficulties with that, you know, getting into the trunks because you were picked up for a sponsorship. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, I was, you know, proactive. And I mean, they came to me, you know, the owner, Raul, he came to me. He offered me a sponsorship. You know, he was going to take care of everything, the flight, the national, the North Americans, my meals, my trunks. He was going to pay me like $200 or $300 a month for, you know, just for sponsoring me. He was going to take care of my tan, basically everything. And then, you know, I didn't have, you know, he didn't have any, his communication's horrible. The guy wouldn't communicate with me. He wouldn't, you know, he's just a flake, in my opinion. He flaked out. I mean, totally. And I waited at the end, and it got to like, I think it was 3 or 4 weeks out, and then you got a hold of me and let me know that you guys would be there for me if you needed me, if I needed you. And pretty much I was like, yeah, this guy, you know, dropped off the face of the map. He flaked out. I mean, he's gone now. So let's do it.
And, you know, I think that you're not the first or the second or the fifth that, you know, I've heard this from. And you know, that's kind of why it was one of those things, too, for me. I wanted to, you know, in this downtime of, you know, it's not super busy. You know, we took a lot of time in the back end of Muscle Potential, really trying to rework some of the systems and, you know, getting things better overall for us as a company. But we wanted to start offering, because really only we did sponsorship for IFBB pros. And I was just like, that's great, but there's a lot of, you know, great talent and career people like you and others that just want, you know, want help. And, you know, I was like, for me, I get as a pro, sometimes it's great to go after people, you know, but for me, it's more like, if you, again, you work with us, you know, so I was like, let me start this, you know, the Muscle Potential Champions program and, you know, get that started, because guys like you are somebody people follow, you know, even if you don't win, you know, you're constantly in the, you know, in the minutia of bodybuilding, you know, you post and they see you, they've seen your progress. And, you know, I think just offering it to people who don't have, what's the word I'm looking for, like, shown, you know, that they are part of a company, they just sometimes fall apart. You know, that's why I was like, I'd like to sponsor people, but you just can't run out to every person and offer them sponsorship, because eventually I think that's what he does, is he offers it to so many that he really can't keep up with it. And then the ones that are, you know, that he, I guess, chooses that he wants to help might get the help, and then others just kind of, like you, get ignored. And it's like, but you're planning something. It's like, especially in bodybuilding, it's very plan driven, and if you think these things are coming from this place and it's not, it's like, well, you said you were helping me.
Yeah,
You know, and
yeah,
especially for the one thing that you do, it's like you make trunks. Like even if you drop the ball on 90% of the other things, the trunks at least should be what you focus the most on because that's what you are. You make trunks, and if they can't even get trunks, then your purpose, even if they sponsored them, and yeah, you great. You know, I actually had an athlete. He dropped they dropped the ball completely on him, and he ended up wearing our trunks. And then they finally got in touch with him for the next show he was doing. And they did. They paid for his hotel, they paid for his tanning, they did everything. And then at the end, he still didn't wear his trunks. He still wore ours because he's like, yeah, fuck you. Because you came through, but this is for the time that you were supposed to do it the first time in his head. Like he goes, I'm still not going to wear your trunks because I don't support you, but I'll take the things that you promised me already. And I'm like, you know what? Fair. Like, it's like you at least have to do those little bits that uh, that you should get. You know, and again, I feel like hopefully the champions program we started, we can reward guys. You know, because I think that's especially in the sport, it's word of mouth. It's you guys wearing them because that changes, you know, how people see the trunks. You know, especially when they fit well. You know, and I think that's one of our biggest things from when we started was you're not as a bodybuilder just getting clothes. It's hard to get good fitting clothes that fit your body because either they're super big or they're just too tight, and it's like, then why are you ordering trunks in small, medium, and large? Because that's not how we do anything in bodybuilding.
exactly. Yep,
And
yep.
always one of those frustrations with them that I've had, and I'm glad that we could get you on board with us, and hopefully we'll see your career grow, get you, turn a pro, and be part of the journey with you as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's the plan. You've seen my progress over the years. I'm just ready to get better. I didn't place where I wanted to place at North Americans. As a result, I got with blue. I'm more hungry than I've ever been. We totally revamped my program. Next time I step on stage, I'll say it right now. I won't even look like the same bodybuilder.
Which is perfect. I think that's the
Yeah,
thing. I think that's where a lot. I think for bodybuilding overall, some people say, "Oh, it's dying and it's not progressing," and I always say, "No, I don't think so." I look at other countries, and there are more and more, but they also provide. I would say like the Arnold is a great example of that. Is if you look at the Arnold, it's very rare you have an American who places in the top five because the quality difference between what they do in other countries and what we do here, I don't think always are the same. I think they do. They put a lot more in. They come in a lot more conditioned. They come in with more size, and I think here we kind of, I don't know. I feel like the steps between NPC and other people, they just get a little too watered down. So people, and we've all seen it. The guys who go to a national show, and you're like, why are you even here?
yeah, yeah,
And again, I get that people have to test the waters, but I always feel like also know what you're doing. It's like if you're gonna
yeah.
do a national show, go to past national shows, see what the winners of those past national shows look like, and use that to guide you into, do I look like one of these people? Do I look like I should even be on stage with these guys, or do I look like I need to spend another couple of years in the gym training?
Exactly, exactly. No, that's exactly how I feel. You hit the nail on the head with that. No, you're right.
So
So
that's why I'm like one of these things of like even for mine, like I know people are like just lose some weight and compete. And I'm like, but the judges have said they wanted to see me bigger, so just losing weight and getting on stage isn't going to get a better result
yeah,
than
yeah.
just doing the work that they asked you to do, and then bringing that back to stage.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
so future, you said now outside of the bodybuilding, is life in during this COVID been okay, or trying to keep calm now since, you're kind of reverse dieting and taking it a little easy for a little bit?
Yeah, my son was just born. My second son was just born here 2 days ago.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So I've been pretty busy with that, but yeah, it's always nice after the show to use that time to really reflect back on, for me, it's always bodybuilding, I mean, even Brandon told me, he's like, hey, just take a couple weeks off, try not to think about bodybuilding at all, and just live life, And by the second day, all I could think about was getting back into the gym, progressing where I needed to progress, and at the end of the day, getting better. I mean, that's what it's all about, is progressing and progress until a point that you can't be denied anymore. At least that's how I feel.
No.
And I mean, I worked. I learned work ethic at a very young age. I grew up on a 450-acre ranch.
Wow.
So on a ranch that size, I mean, there's always work to be done.
Always.
From fixing fence to moving irrigation pipe. To vaccinating the cattle, just the list goes on and on. Cutting hay, bucking hay, I had my first job when I was 12 years old. I got on with a big ranch, a local ranch that I grew up out in Myrtle Point. There was a big couple 1,000-acre ranch just in Myrtle Point there. And every year they would hire a bunch of kids to come and buck their hay. So I got on with that at an early age. I mean, my first summer I think I made over $10,000.
Nice.
And so I learned work ethic at a young age, and I think that's very important to being a successful bodybuilder, because I mean, you're only going to get out what you put in. You got to be dedicated. You got to be consistent. And it's something that it takes time. It takes years, and a lot of people don't realize that. Of course, you hear it all the time. People want results overnight. It just doesn't happen that way.
Nope. Now, what got you into the gym then? Because if you're working so much as a young kid, it's great, and I'm guessing maybe it was just more of the physical labor of doing stuff outside, which kind of moved you into the gym at some point.
Really, it was my junior year of football. For my senior year, I wanted to be fullback and middle linebacker. So I was about 160 pounds. And one of my real good buddies, he was like, hey, he's like, you got to start coming to the gym with me. So I started going to the gym with him. That year, my goal by my senior year was to put on enough weight to be 200 pounds. I came in 2 pounds shy at 198. And, I was very close to my goal, and I felt great, and I kicked ass that year. I was middle linebacker like I wanted to be, and I was fullback some of the time, but not like full time. So yeah, no, it was that's pretty much what got me hooked. And then after school, I'm the competitive type, and I needed I still use the gym, of course, as an outlet after I got out of school, and of course, I started bumping into some bigger guys, of course, and some of them were into bodybuilding, and they told me, they're like, hey, you got good genetics, dude. You're a big guy. Like, you should maybe think about bodybuilding. So I started training for years to do my first show. I didn't want to just be one of those guys that started out as a light heavyweight or a middleweight, So I trained my ass off for as long as I could until I felt like I was physically ready to do my first show.
Nice. It's weird because I see different approaches. I recently had an issue on IG with somebody trolling on one of our younger competitors. He's like 19 years old doing his first show, and again, he's not huge, but coming from being a heavier set kid and losing the weight and starting his journey, somebody was like, well, you shouldn't even get on stage if you have no muscle definition or abs. And I'm like, but it's your first show. I feel like sometimes, yes, if you're 19 years old, that's one thing. If you're 32 years old, that might be a different story. I mean, maybe even in your late 20s or mid 20s, that's a different story. But when you're with other teenagers, chances are most teenagers aren't going to be genetically huge, ripped, or, exuding some frame that looks like they should be a pro in like 3 years.
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
know,
no, I agree,
and that's why I was
100%.
just, and that's why like I feel like everybody has their own journey on how they start, where they start, and I think that's for you, waiting and taking the time, it's paid off, and you've been progressing and you've been doing amazing, and it's like so it's this. For 5 years now, you've been really competing, or
This was my, I started in 17, so 17, 18, 19, and this is 20. So, yeah, this is my fourth year.
four
I did
years?
2 shows in 2017, which got me up to a total of 5 shows this year. So that was the only year I did 2 shows. I did 1 show a year, for all the other years.
Did you? So being that you've done one and also done two a year, do you, some people kind of prefer doing at least the two a year or the warm up show with a another show after? Is that something you think is a better, or do you like to just kind of really just dial in for the one show and really put more effort into that?
Um, I don't know. It's hard to say, because I mean, I did, why I came in and did that Portland Classic is because, me and my coach looked at it and were like, we know you can get better. We know you can get a better place, and let's go. Well, let's go get you a class win. That was my second year, so that's what we did. We held condition for 6 weeks. So that was a little bit tough. There was a pretty good sized gap in between the shows.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I came in a lot more streamlined, a lot tighter. I was a few pounds lighter. So yeah, I mean, it ended up working out for me. And, I did look a lot better on stage for that second show.
Nice. I think that's part of the bodybuilding process is learning your body. I think that's especially with coaches. I think that's one thing that like now you switch to Blue, and Blue's great, but still this will be his first year working with you. So I still think there's still that learning phase of what your body does versus what somebody else's body does, and just like
No question.
and that's where I think they don't. Some people don't take enough time to work with their coaches. Like if you're going to get a coach, you have to sometimes spend at least 2 years with them, because and again, I can get if they completely you look like absolute shit your first show with them, then maybe you might want to rethink it. But if they really did do some good work and it's just not like as crisp and as hard as you wanted, yeah, take that information, go back to the drawing board, and reevaluate. If that's, if they're like, no, let's keep the exact same thing, then maybe you might want to go, I don't know if that's good, but you need that time, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And, that's one of the reasons why me and Brent work so well together is he immediately found out that my body works basically exactly like his.
Okay.
So that was helpful because he's like, okay, you're just like me in all regards. Food, how your body handles water, drops water, everything was very similar for Brandon. So we were able to, easily, tweak stuff right off the bat and really get into a groove early. And I think that's why we were, one of the reasons why we were so successful is just because my body type responds very similar to his.
Nice.
So
I think that, again, that's that chemistry between a coach and their clients. It really depends on that makes or breaks people. Their communication, their how they attend to you. If they're not a good coach and they're not giving you the updates you need, that 2 weeks extra waiting for that update could change how you look because you spill too much or you gain too much calories or whatever. Okay.
yeah.
Well, sir, I will let you go. Thank you so much for getting to talk to you. Finally getting to see you face to face after all these years.
Yeah. No, it was good to talk. And I look forward to being in your champions program and hopefully bringing home an IFBB pro card here real shortly. So, I mean, we'll see what happens here in the next 6-8 months. That's when I'll kind of be deciding what I plan on doing for the future and what show we're going to really narrow in on and get ready for. So,
we'll definitely be part of it, and keeping track. Tag us. Let us know what's going on. We want to keep everybody updated on progress. I think that's part of why I wanted the champions too, is because again, we want to know your updates. I think that's something that especially even though some people think trunks are only for stage, it's like yeah, but we like to keep tabs. Like we want to know what's going on. If you're gonna, some guys like to pose in, updates in posing trunks. Like, hey, it's a thing. If you're bodybuilding, let people
Yeah,
see you look like a bodybuilder, so they keep the same image and get to see you change physically. Because if you have nice trunks on, it's like from point A to point B. They get to follow your journey, and I think again that's what people don't get. It's a journey in bodybuilding, not a sprint. It's going to take some time. So
exactly. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right, 100% right. And yeah, for me, yeah, I mean that's how I pose in for all my check-ins. I just wear my trunks, and I mean those will be the updated pictures you get from me. Will be check-in pictures. That way they're the same. Same lighting, same spot, everything the same distance away from the camera. That way you can see the real progress and the real changes.
that's actually a good point. I think that's one thing I do notice a lot of others is that they post maybe gym or in a bedroom or sometimes outside, and you're always like, they say they look better, but I don't really see much of a difference. It's like because it's just a different lighting, it's a different area every single time
Yeah,
they post those type of things.
exactly.
I mean, I guess again, bodybuilding is all about consistency, and sometimes consistency of where you take your pictures is just as important as your diet and
Yeah,
your training. So,
yep, yep. I agree.
okay, Pete. Well,
So
thank you so much. Go have fun with your newborn there, and
yeah.
we will talk again soon, I'm sure.
Okay.
Pete,
Sounds good, sir. You have
have,
a great day, and we'll be talking soon.
yeah.